everyone, Paul from High Tech Legion, and what we're going to do is take a look at the Cougar Challenger case. But I'm going to kind of do it a little bit different than the other guys would normally do it. I'm actually going to start with the case deconstructed. Then we're going to go through the build and I'll show you each part as I put it together. So far what I've got done is I have already installed the power supply so I can start my wiring and get my wiring done. I don't like to see wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount my wires in the back. I'm going to hook them up with some twisty ties, whatever I got to do to try to hide these wires as best as I can. As we're going through that, I'll stop it, I'll progress a little bit further, and I will show everyone what I go through in a process of when I put together a case. Now, it's kind of going to be someone asked me, the reason why I'm doing this is someone asked me, they said, hey, well, why don't you show how you actually, hide the wires on a case? So that's what I'm going to kind of do with this today. But in any case, we're going to be taking a look at the Cougar Challenger case. It's got a lot of great features, so keep an eye out and let's go ahead and start. Is a mid-tower case, but it's fairly big and it's fairly versatile for a lot of the needs that you might want. Now, as you can see with the front panel here, there is a window, there is a fan filter, which is actually magnetic. So you can put a fan behind there. This is magnetic, it goes on and off. So it's fairly easy to access and clean. When we take that front panel off, we can look at the front panel here. Nothing very spectacular about it, but as I said, it's got a window and it's got the removable fan filter. The back cover is specifically designed to, of course, just be a back cover, and it is basically flat, and it does not have any windows or anything like that. So, of course, your back cover here is just a conventional back cover for a case. Now, as we look on the inside, we can see there's a lot of room here at the present time. Now, there is an option here, and I will show you that in a second. We actually have extra hard drive cages in here, which will give us more storage. But you can see most of this is toolless, which is a good thing about a case. I hate playing with screws and stuff like that. If we look at the motherboard tray, you'll notice right here, you don't need to use standoffs. It actually has raised screw holes, so you can place your motherboard there and not use standoffs. I already pre-installed my bottom mounting power supply since I'm going to be basically putting my wires and everything in for you while we go through this. But as you can see, it's not very heavy, which is a good thing because I did hurt my back and I don't like heavy cases anymore. We'll go ahead and turn it around for you and look at the back. As you can see, we have a fan in the back. That's a 120. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expansion slots. We also have room for an extra fan or an extra power supply if you want. Power supply on the bottom. Of course, this is your I/O plate. I already have pre-installed my I/O plate. And we'll turn it around this way. We'll take a look at the motherboard tray. As you can see, the motherboard tray is fairly solid. It does have a nice wide cutout. You could basically replace any type of CPU cooling unit through the back here. You're going to definitely have enough room. Through the bottom, we have, of course, our wire management holes, and on the sides. So this is all for wire management. This is for hiding the wires, etc. Hard drive cage here. Of course, the back of the hard drive cage. We'll go ahead and take a look at the front of this. When we take a look at the front, we see that we have a 200mm fan as an intake. This only comes standard with 2 fans, So 2 fans it should be good enough to cool this case. We'll go ahead and find out when we do our benchmarks. But one thing I like about it is, if you look out here up on the top, this is your power button. You have 2 USB 3.0 ports, and up on the top you also have an extra SATA port where you can just use an external drive, plug it in there, and that actually goes into this here. So you would plug your Molex in, and that actually does power the top SATA port. So as I said, we'll take a look here. Removable hard drive trays. Basically, they have clips on them. You don't have to worry about putting screws in. Yes, there are also attachments for your SATA drives, which would be here. You get an extra 3 of those, which is not bad. And as I said, we could make, this is very versatile here. We can do a couple things with it. There's 3 modes. Right now, this would be considered C mode with this out. And this is going to allow you to mount a larger video card. So if you have one of them long video cards, you're not going to have to worry about not having space in a mid-tower case here. It's going to be able to fit right in there and you won't have any problems. But we have 3 modes that we could use. And basically by sliding the tray into the slots here, as you can see now, this would be B mode. Now you can fit your 2.5-inch drives there. You got no problem. You got room for three 2.5-inch drives. If you come back out this way and mount it, this is A mode. Now you got even more room for another 3.5-inch drives. So you got 3 modes that you could use, 3 different changes. So if you have a large video card, you don't have to worry about it. Now on the back, which I didn't show you, we have 3 cutouts here. This is for water cooling, and yes, they do give you some grommets for it. So that's another good thing. All right, so now that we saw this all deconstructed, let's start constructing it, and we'll go ahead and show you what I do to hide wires, make sure that I have the cleanest possible airflow coming through my case. So far what I've done is, I went ahead and added 2 hard drives. So as you can see, basically they're toolless. Just take the cages out, pop the hard drive in the tray, align the screw holes, and then pop it in. And then my optical drive, which goes on top, this is actually a lever. When you start installing it, it'll clip once it's in, so you don't even have to worry about it. You just raise this out, push it out, it'll come out. Once it's totally installed and it's seated correctly, it'll automatically close. This is good. I like that. I don't like to play with screws. So far we've got two of our components in. Next we'll go ahead and mount our motherboard. I'll show you how that's done very simply, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, the first thing I needed to do was find my 8-pin power connector cable, which I took. I routed it through the back, took it up through the top. Now this happens to be the rear fan mount. Now I may or may not mount this to my motherboard. So what I've done is I've actually turned the fan around so the cord would come up through the top. So now I have a lot of room here, so if I need to connect a 3-pin to a Molex, I can go ahead and do that. And also it'll give me the option of, if I want to route it that way so I can't see it, I could route it underneath around where the motherboard heatsink cutout is. And of course, we also took our 24-pin power connector, routed it through the bottom, and came up through the top where the motherboard is going to go. This is about the area where the 24-pin power connector will be on the motherboard. If we look at the motherboard tray, right here we can see that we have a standoff. This is the only one that's not pre-lifted. Basically what this is your guide. This is where your center hole for your motherboard goes. So it's technically a guide. This does not get screwed in or anything like that. So this is a guide, so when you mount your motherboard inside the case, you know you're in the right position. So I'm going to go ahead and put the last screw in here. Now as you can see, I already installed this heatsink, because what I wanted to show you was how much room we have up on the top, that I did not have a problem getting that 8-pin power connector up into the motherboard. I mean, basically all I did was lower it a little bit, pop in that 8-pin power connector, and it was fine. So you have enough room up here. As you can see, I'm using a Noctua DH14, so this is a fairly big heatsink, which got some little bit of dust on it too. But in any case, now you can see I have my 24-pin power connector plugged in. I've got my 8-pin power connector pin plugged in. I've brought my 2 PCIe connectors through, and now what I'm going to get ready to do is I'm going to get ready to start wiring the back and start putting in my SATA cables, etc., to secure everything up so I can complete the build. Alright, now if we take a look in the back here, you can see I wasn't using a modular power supply. So as I said, I might go ahead and route this wire for that rear fan just to, not to a fan header, but actually just to a Molex, which I did, and you see it comes across the back here. These are all your cable connections for the USB 3.0, your front panel functions for your power button, etc. They get routed this way, and what I did was, as you can see, I left a bend here. So if I want to change this power supply out, I can go ahead and access it just by moving that over. I have everything zip tied or twisty tied, whatever you want to call it. Everything is nice and tight. You've got about as wide as my finger behind here to put to route some cables, which is really good. Now I also have 2 4 drives. So what I'm doing is I'm actually using the Asus SSD caching. So I have 2 SSDs and I have 2 hard drives. Basically I've got one hard drive that has my OS, and then I have a 120 gigabyte for SSD caching. I have a 240 gigabyte SSD, that's for where I keep all my games, and where I keep all my movies and stuff like that are on my other hard drive. So I've got a lot of storage in here. I also have a Blu-ray player, as you can see. So that's the back. That's what I normally do with the back. Now let's go ahead and I'll turn it around to the front and we can take a look at what I've got here. So taking a look real close, you can see not very many wires are visible, and I'm going to get good airflow across the top, across the bottom, across the back. So you want to keep your cords out of the way. Now I do have 2 extra SATA cables down here. Not SATA cables, but PCIe cables, which I leave down here just in case I want to run SLI. Right now I'm using a Titan, NVIDIA GeForce Titan. And basically this is a longer card, but as you can see, since I'm in B mode, I still have enough room where I got some air between my video card and the actual hard drive cage. Also, putting it in B mode made it optimal for me to put my SSDs up there. That's what I like about this case so far. It's very versatile. You can move it around. You have enough storage for hard drives, multiple optical disk drives, or even some other stuff that you might put up on the top if you have a extra couple hard drive cages or something that you want to slip into there, maybe from ICDock or something like that, then you could go ahead and slip in. There's no problem fitting this large fan in. I have the 2 fans in. I could literally put a third up here. Now up on the top, which I didn't show you, you can see the grates. So if I did not choose to use an air cooling method, I could go ahead and mount a nice size radiator up on the top for water cooling. But also on the bottom, I do have room for another fan, which if I want to, instead of going into the back for my water cooling, for a self-contained water cooling unit, I could go ahead and mount it on the bottom. And if I mount that on the bottom, what it has also is a magnetic fan cover. So basically, all you need to do is just slap it on. It's magnetic, you got no problem. So let's go ahead and flip her back up. and put that over, and let's go and now we'll start putting the panels on and the front bezel. So I'll go ahead and take the front bezel out. As you can see, it's got a nice orange look to it. It has the Cougar up in the front. Again, this is the Cougar Challenger. This is very easy to take out through the back. I know that I'm going to be using my top port, so it's just a matter of me flipping it out. And it was easy when I tested it, so okay, there we go. Sorry about that. But in any case, go ahead and just pop that in. It pops right on, it pops right off. Everything is intact now, as you can see. Again, the top here, you lift this up, there's your power. We have two USB 3.0 ports, of course your audio ports, and for an external SATA drive. Now this does connect on the inside here to USB 3.0, meaning the 3.0 slots, I'm sorry, but this is SATA 6. I have that routed down on the bottom. It's behind the video card, and I have it in one of the SATA 6 ports. So of course that's going to be SATA 6G. So we'll put on the back panel. The back panel should slide on fairly easy, if I don't mess everything else up in the meantime. But we'll go ahead and turn it this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Just line it up with the slots. Okay, and I always end up doing this when I do that. So we're lining it up. We're going to slide it in. It's in. That's fairly simple. Turn it over to this side. Making a mess out of my table. Got 3 screws that you can put in the back. 1, 2, sorry, 2 screws. We'll get it in there eventually. Let's leave that one out for now. But in any case, grab the other screw that hit on the floor. We'll take the plastic cover off. Go ahead and put the front panel back on. That's intact. Go ahead and screw that together. I guess screws don't like me. If you watched me in the Tiger Direct thing a couple of years ago when I built the computer, I kind of came in 9th because I kept on dropping screws. So in any case, let's go ahead and screw that together. And there you have it. This is the Cougar Challenger case. Nice little window so you can see on the inside. If you want to put an extra fan over here, you can. Well, everybody, for the full review, please visit us at www.hightechlegion.com. Also, make sure that you like us on YouTube here by clicking subscribe. You know, you're watching this video, we got a few other great videos for you. We're putting videos up 2, 3 times a day sometimes, so make sure you subscribe. All you got to do is click on the button down below this. We do have a Twitter page, which is twitter.com/hightechlegion. And of course, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/HTL reviews. We do have a lot of contests going on right now. We are giving away some coolers this month. We're doing it 1 every week, so we've got maybe 10 coolers to give away, so we still got another 8 weeks left because we're going into week 3. So you might want to come and visit us at High Tech Legion again, so you can enter and try to win one of these great coolers that we've reviewed. Other than that, thank you very much. We'll see you the next time. Stay thirsty, my friends. And remember, if you don't see it at High Tech Legion, you might not have seen it at all. Take care.